Ah, shit. Here we go again.
Hey guys, Jim here. Welcome back once again. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Sofirn SP36 Pro. And I'm not sure why I overpronounced the name Sofirn. Sorry about that. This bad boy is being run with Anduril 2, which means it can do a lot, but it also means you've got a lot of studying to do if you've never used it before. It is very, very complex. But for about 50 bucks, you're getting 8,000 lumens on turbo. This thing is crazy. Now, it's being run on triple 18650 batteries. It is not a proprietary battery. So that's a major, major plus for a lot of people. And you've got 4 of the SST40 emitters at 5,000 Kelvin. So you've got a pretty neutral white on that. It's not high CRI, unfortunately, but you do get a good sense of the colors that you're shining the light on and fairly decent depth of field. My personal preference is between 4,500 and 5,000, with 5,000 kind of being on the high end of it. But that's just a personal thing. But again, really, you're not using this as an EDC light, so it's probably not that big of a deal. You're using this for a powerhouse. You're using this to show off with your buddies. You're using this when you go camping to throw light an extreme distance, again, kind of showing off, and not really worrying about the color tint and the CRI and all that kind of stuff that you would be worrying about if this were a knife that you were, if this were a light that were you using every single day. Sorry about that. I review so many things, knives and guns and lights, that sometimes I forget the words that are coming out of my mouth. Now, the focus on this light is actually going to be on lumens, not so much on candela, which means this is going to be a blindingly bright light overall and floody, which is going to light a really large area around you instead of throwing that light a huge distance. Now, this is a good kind of walking around and searching around the immediate area kind of light. And it's got a pretty decent defined hotspot when you're fairly close. And it goes into a nice smooth spill. But now at a further distance, it's going to be a nice clean even beam with less of a defined hotspot. Now, it'll still throw. It can punch out to about 550 meters, which isn't anything to laugh at, but you can buy lights, quite honestly, that are more focused on candela, which will punch out significantly further in a much, much smaller overall package. So know what you want before making your decision. If you want something that's going to be blindingly bright everywhere, probably, I would say within 100 feet of you, it's disturbingly bright, and it's still going to punch out a good 550 meters. You're still going to be able to identify things at a pretty good distance, but it's a fistful, it's a big handful of a light that you're not going to be carrying in your pocket. You're not going to be carrying a lanyard around your neck or anything like that. This is going to be the light for you. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. It's chunky, and it has a really nice, solid feel to it. But it's so fat and it's so weighty that it's a light that you're never going to carry. My apologies, I got interrupted, so I've got to edit this and splice it and come back to it and all that kind of good stuff. I was talking about the fact that it's so big and chunky and heavy that it's really going to be relegated to something like a backpack light, or maybe it's going to be your truck light. It's going to be the kind of thing that you keep in the console of your truck and kind of run around and do stuff with. But it's not going to be one that you're going to want to carry with you for any length of time because of the size and, of course, the weight. A big plus, as I mentioned earlier, is that it's not running on a proprietary battery, so it's going to be very, very simple to get this open. Pop out your 3 batteries and charge them independently, or, and this is something that I really, really appreciate, you're being given the choice. There is a USB-C right back here. So you can choose to go ahead and charge up the batteries while they're still in the light without ever taking the head off. I like that. I like the fact that you've got that flexibility. But I think some people that, maybe they're just kind of looking at the light online. They're not reading a lot, but they're looking at pictures and they see that little rubber flap and they're going, oh, it's probably a big, giant proprietary battery. And that's a turnoff for me. And that I understand because it's never a complete deal breaker for me, depending on price point, that is. But I do prefer having removable batteries because at some point, all rechargeable batteries do degrade or they can just die. And when it happens, it's better to be able to replace them, not have a non-serviceable proprietary battery inside of a body that you can't get to and you can never fix. So what may end up being your absolutely favorite light, maybe in 4, 5, 10 years, you're never able to use it again. And that would kind of suck. So you've got that flexibility, and I really, really appreciate that. So the throw surprised me, and you're going to see that during the beam shot section. I think it's like 1,380 feet or something is what it converts to. Yikes, it's crazy. And I think the surprise comes from the fact that, when we're buying into products that are made internationally, and when we're watching reviews on, like YouTube, which is very international, everything is meters and centimeters and millimeters. And while that is a very simple system to learn, it's difficult for us dumb Americans because we deal in inches, feet, yards. So when we hear, 423 meters, we really don't understand how far that is. That doesn't sound very far because we're hearing 423. Our brain wants to default to feet. If this only punched out to 423 feet, I would kick myself in the butt for spending the money to buy it. But it actually goes out to almost 1,400 feet. That's ridiculous. And I was really, really happy to see that. And I was happy to see that it wasn't just a small focused beam. It was a nice wide area that was illuminated. I really, really enjoyed that. So using Anduril 2 means you have a ton of options, customizable features, and basically fun stuff that you can cycle through if you're into that. But you can ignore the advanced mode and leave it in basic mode and just have a good solid flashlight that you click on, you ramp up by holding the button down, and it'll ramp back down, and double click is your 8,000 lumen turbo. And there's no confusion. So yes, I have to stress on any review I do on any light that's run by Anduril, it's only complicated if you choose to make it confusing. So keep that in mind. If you keep it in the most basic mode, it's going to be super simple. It's going to be very easy to use. And you're probably going to absolutely love it. Now, if you like fun stuff, you could certainly have fun stuff. And that's when you're going to convert this over to the advanced mode, which, if memory serves, is 10 clicks and you're holding on the 10th click. And then it'll switch it over into that mode. I have mine in that mode, and you can tell that because I have smooth ramping. If you're in the basic mode, your ramping is actually step ramping. So it would step through each individual brightness setting. Now, I enjoy the useless but fun lightning mode and sometimes the candle mode, but do I need them? No, but I'm an overgrown child and I enjoy just having just stuff for fun. So, yeah. Okay, so let's have a little bit of that fun. Now, there are a lot of videos and diagrams online that you can use to learn all of what Anduril 2 does. I'm just simply, I don't feel like making a 45-minute long video and going through all the steps. And I'll be honest with you, in the advanced mode, I do get lost sometimes if I don't have that diagram sitting in front of me because I just can't memorize everything that it does. And that's fine. I'm willing to admit that. So to go into some of the fun strobe modes, which will give you candle mode, and my favorite, which is lightning mode, it's 1, 2, and then hold. I'm going to kill the lights here because this can be somewhat subtle. This is the lightning mode. So if you have this set up in a room and just kind of shining up at the ceiling, it does kind of have this feeling like there's a lightning storm going on outside. Yeah, and that's fun. And then you can switch over to the next mode. I think this is actually the first mode that's in the round robin of modes, and that's going to be the candle mode. I never really got into it, especially with a cooler temperature like this. And this is one of the beacons, I believe. There's the strobe, another strobe, and then it should be settling back into the lightning mode. There we go. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. It's fun. So, as far as the beam goes in practical settings, let's take a look at this real quick. I'm going to lower my tripod here and give you guys a shot of the whiteboard, and then we'll kind of look at the beam pattern and see what this thing does. Okay, so using it indoors, I think that should probably be the lowest mode right there because it does have memory. It's going to memorize whatever setting you left it at. So the lowest mode right there, it's a very gentle moonlight. And as we ramp up, now again, as I mentioned, when we're close here, you do have a pretty defined hotspot. Now, this is only, I don't know, 2.5 feet away maybe. As you get further away, that softens quite a bit. It's actually really, really nice. So there's the high. Turbo is probably going to overpower my camera for sure. So there is what your actual beam pattern looks like. Now let's take it outside and see what it looks like from a distance. Ramp it all the way down. Ramp it up to a low, up into high. And high, I think, is where we're really going to be using this the most. Not that this is the most practical light there is, but in practical applications, I think you're probably going to use high more often than not. And when I get down here to the end of the dock, I'll go ahead and throw it on turbo and we'll see what happens to the tree line out here. I'm already seeing well into the tree line on high. And there we go, 8,000 lumens. Definitely nothing to scoff at. Got my bag of lights around my chest now instead of hanging it off the tripod because I almost knocked everything into the water, and I gotta tell you, I would have been really aggravated. All right, so if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's ramp this up to high. nice hot spot with a good amount of spill. I'm able to see everything all the way around me. Seeing into the tree line on high. And now, turbo. Oh, I am so happy with that. That's fantastic. Now, I'm definitely noticing a bit of heat, but it's nothing ridiculous. Sure, it's too big and beefy to carry around as an EDC light, but for a designated purpose, when you know that you're going to be going out and need a lot of light, this is going to be a fantastic choice.